Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, probably wondered what I was doing. Just polishing my pump. Right, maintenance mistakes. We've all made them. But you know what? Sometimes it only costs you some time when you do. Other times it costs you some skin off your knuckles. So, these are things we need to avoid. So let me help you with some ways to avoid those dastardly mistakes. Okay, let's get serious. The first maintenance mistake on my list is rounding the head off bolts. This one's a nightmare and we've all done it, but it's simply done. I mean, you know, you're putting a new stem on your bike and you're putting the Allen key into the bolt and you don't quite concentrate, it's not located properly, you just twist it and oh no, you've rounded out the edges and suddenly that bolt can be an absolute nightmare in your life. Suddenly you can't fix that stem on like you wanted. Even worse, maybe it was on there and you were trying to loosen it and now you can't get it off. Just such a simple mistake because you weren't concentrating. And this can happen in all sorts of areas on your bike. I mean, it might be the spoke key. You're trying to get tension in your spoke and you aren't concentrating. You're chatting away to Leo in the background, then you're laughing and, oh no, a spoke ruined on your bike. It's so easily solved, this one though. It's just patience, isn't it? It's just taking your time, working on your bike and not rushing it. And you could save yourself so much time and so much stress if you don't round those bolts off and make them impossible to undo. So think about it next time you're using some of these. Okay, this next one is really difficult to solve. It's basically dropping things. Now, I can't stop you dropping things. That's going to happen forever, I'm afraid. But the thing is, when you're working with tools, you're quite often working over your toolbox or over a stand like this where there's lots of other tools surrounded. And when you drop one, it goes in amongst all the others and suddenly you're struggling to find it and you're losing time and you're getting frustrated. It's akin to dropping it in a bin. Gone forever. So what I want you to do here is think about 90 degrees is the rule. Because once you start putting things in their place with a nice 90-degree angle, it's all easy to find. You can drop something and it sticks out nice and clear. That's just on your workbench. But take that to the excess and you get something like this. Look at that, beautiful. And what do you notice there? You can see what you've got to work with, but you can also see what's missing because everything's got its place. So setting your workspace out like this, or even just at the workbench like this, can make a massive difference to just dropping something. Simple, eh? Next up, this one's painful. It's knuckles against chain rings, and knuckles against cassettes, and knuckles against ground. Yep, it's using big tools that have got a lot of force and a lot of torque on them on things that can get very, very tight, that are next to things that are very, very sharp. Okay, so you don't want to be this guy who's working on his bike and he's not thinking about what's going to happen if the tool slips. Or if it does release and suddenly all your force is heading towards that sharp thing or the ground itself. So just take a moment before you undo something that's very, very tight using big, big tools and think what's going to happen when it does release. Are you about to punch the ground or run your knuckles along a chainring? You don't want that. It's really painful. So be a bright spark, not like Blake Sampson. Okay, next up, I want to talk about getting slippery stuff on things that just shouldn't be slippery. You've been a naughty boy. Yeah, you've got slippery stuff on your disc brakes. Nightmare. Now, this could kill you for one, or it could just be really annoying. Because if you get some of the lubricant or maybe some brake fluid or all sorts of slippery stuff that you do need on your bike on these, then the brakes might not work and, like I said, you could die. Or, I think worse, they could squeak tons and that would just ruin your day. So what you got to do is protect them or be very careful. So maybe using like a bit of protection like this, just slips over the disc when it's on the bike and it protects it from all the spraying you're doing all about the place. Or maybe you get some on there and it's happened, but use a little bit of disc brake cleaner to get it off. Use the proper stuff and you can start again, because once those pads have absorbed that lubricant and they are not getting the grip on these things that they need, well, it all starts to unravel really, really fast. So pay attention. No slippery stuff where it shouldn't be. You know what I'm talking about. The wrong tool for the job. Now wait, I'm not describing me in this video, although that would work. I'm talking about those simple moments where you come at, say, a pedal that needs an Allen key, but you've only got a pedal spanner and suddenly nothing's happening. You can't undo it, you can't do it, it's driving you mental. So you start using the wrong tool for the job and you're hitting away at it and you're like, oh, I want it come off. A hammer's never going to do it. In fact, a hammer is very rarely the right tool for the job. So bear that in mind. But what you need to do is just take your time, go and find the right tool, and then all of a sudden, it fits in perfectly. And you can get it off. Just take your time, keep it simple, and avoid the hammer at all costs. So there you go, some very useful, albeit very simple ways to avoid maintenance mistakes. It really comes down to just concentrating, really, doesn't it? And you could save lots of time, lots of tools, and lots of knuckles. Let us know in the comments section down below any other ways to avoid maintenance mistakes. We would love your input. Other than that, we'll see you next time on GMBN. Make sure you love, like, and share on social channels. And yeah, I'll see you next time.